We have a word problem here, and in word problems, the first thing I'm going to do is just kind of read over it quickly to get a feel for what's going on. Then I'll go back phrase by phrase, because very often when you read it phrase by phrase, you can just write what you read and you've got the equation. So let's see what's going on here. So in the year 2009-2010 school year, in country A, there were 101,000 foreign students from country B. All right, so you get that? Back in 2009 and 10, in country A, there were 101 foreign students from country B. Now, here's what we know. This is 20% more than the number of students from country C. So how many were from country C? All right, so I've got students in country B, country C, and I want to find out how many foreign students were in country C. So since I'm looking for the number of students in country C, I think I will let X equal the number of students of foreign students in country C. Now, if I go phrase by phrase, I just may be able to write the equation. So what it says is this. There were 101,000 students in country B. Now, this number, that number, 101,000, is, okay, this number is, okay, so this number is 101,000 is, now it says this, 21% more than the number from country C. Now, the number in country C, well, how about, that's X plus 21%, 0.21% of X, more, right? Here's the number in country C, so add 21% of times country C. All right, so this becomes 101 equals, now, you got a 1x here. 1 plus 0.21 is 1.21x. Let's divide. So we'll get 101,000 divided by 1.21. That's x. Now, when I do that on my calculator, I'm coming up with 83,471. I'm not going to put any decimals, but I notice, all right, that's the number, but what the problem tells me to do is simplify my answer, round to the nearest thousand. Okay, round to the nearest, this is what it says in the problem, nearest thousand. All right, so nearest thousand, well, the nearest thousand is right here. Now, the number to the right is below 500, it's below 5, so I'm just going to round it down. So I'm going to say about, how many were in country C? About 83,000. Oh, it looks like we got a geometry problem here. So just kind of get an idea of what's happening. You got this triangle A, B, C. Now, it tells us this, that the size of B is 4 times the size of A. And then it says the size of C is 18 degrees less than 5 times the size of angle A. All right, so what we want to know is find the size of the angles. Now, here's how I'm going to start this. It looks to me like I have 3 angles, A, B, and C. Angle B is given in terms of angle A, so A is the base, and C is given in terms of A. So everything is given in terms of angle A. So I'm going to let X equal the measure of angle A. Now, just read it phrase by phrase and we'll get an equation. It says this, angle B is 4 times the same size of angle A. All right, so I'm going to draw this picture here. So here's the triangle. Now, angle A, this is equal to X. Now, what about B? B, up here at the top, B is, all right, okay, let's label these, A, B, and C. So B is 4 times angle A. So this is 4x. Now, what does it say about C? Well, it says C is, all right, so C is, here comes C. C is 18 degrees less than 5 times A. All right, so if I say that this thing is 18 degrees less than something, I'm going to subtract 18. So I subtract 18 from 5 times a. But a is x, so I'm going to get, that's 5x minus 18. Now here's a fact about the geometry of triangles. If you add up the interior angles, add up the measures, not the angles, add up the measures. That measure plus that measure plus that measure, the interior angles, the angles inside. If you add up those measures, x plus 4x plus 5x minus 18, every time you add up those measures, any triangle, you're going to get 180 degrees. So what do we get here? X and 4x is 5x and another 5x. 10x minus 18 is 180. Let's add that 18. So we'll get 10x equals 198. And divide by 10, we'll get x equals 19.8. All right, now what is x? This is the measure we assign to angle A. So now we still have to get B and get C. The measure B, we know, is 4 times that of angle A, so that's 4 times 19.8, and I got 79.2, and the measure of angle C is 5 times that of A, 5 times the 19.8 minus 18, and I got 81. So what we want to do is find the measures of the angle. So how about if we write this? A, B, and C. So A is 19.8 degrees, B 79.2 degrees, and C 81 degrees. What we've got going here in number 3, it says that the height of a building is 952 feet. All right, so the height of this building is 952 feet, which is about 377 feet higher than another building. What's the height of the second building? So I'm trying to find the height of the second building. So why don't I do this? Let x equal the height of the second building. That's what I'm trying to find. Now let's read through here and see if we can just write what we read. Well, there's a couple ways to do this, I think. The height of a building, okay, if I can draw something, I'm going to draw it. So here's one building. Right now, this building is 952 feet high. There's another building. This is what I'm trying to find, right? That X there. But we know this. This building here is 377 feet higher than this one. So if I take this one and add, okay, if I did this, if I added 377, these two things would be equal. So I can write an equation right from this. It says 952 is equal to x plus 377. So let's subtract that. So we'll get 952 minus 377. That's our x. So x turns out to be 575. Now, this is not the answer, right? That is not the answer. What we are asked is, what is the height of the second building? So I'm going to say this. The height of the second building is 575 feet. That's how I'm going to answer the question. Now, number 4 says, to finance her community college education, Sarah takes out a loan for $4,000. All right, so she takes out this $4,000 loan. Now, after a year, Sarah decides to pay off the interest, which is 4% of $4,000. How much will she pay? Well, we're trying to find out how much she's going to pay, so why don't we do this? Introduce a variable. Let x equal the amount to pay. Now, to pay off that loan, Sarah is going to have to pay her $4,000 back plus, okay, here's x. All right, the amount she has to pay is that $4,000 plus, what, 4% of that, all right? Yeah, 4%, so 0.04 of times 4,000. So what do we get? X is equal to, all right, 4,000 plus, that's $160. So X equals $4,160. Now remember, this is not the answer. The answer is not X equals 4,160. How much, the question is this, how much will she pay? So let's say this, Sarah will pay $4,160. The perimeter of a rectangular field. Now, as soon as I can draw something, I'm going to draw it. We've got a rectangular field. All right, so I'm going to draw this rectangular field. Here's a rectangular field. It says the perimeter. Now, the perimeter is the length around. This length plus this length plus this length plus this length. So the perimeter is, you know what, I'm going to write that. The perimeter is 360 yards. Okay, now, the length is 20 yards longer than the width. Find the dimensions. All right, so I'm going to find the length and the width. That's what I'm looking for. So find L and W. Find the length and the width. Now, as I read this, I see that the length is, so the length is 20 yards longer than the width. All right, so the width is X, so the length is 20 yards longer than that, so this is X plus 20. All right, now here's what we know. The perimeter is equal to, well, there's a couple ways to do it. If this is the width, that's the width. This is the length, this is the length. What do you get? You get 2 lengths plus 2 widths. Or if you wanted, you could just do W plus L plus W plus L. All right, this one's a little bit faster. I'm going to use this. So the perimeter for us is 360. Now that's equal to 2 lengths. And what's the length? X plus 20 plus 2 widths. And the width is an X. There's our equation. And now we can solve it. Let's distribute. We'll get 360 is equal to 2X plus 40 plus another 2X. So we'll get 360 is equal to 4X plus 40. Let's subtract that 40. So I'll do it up here on the right. We'll get 320 is equal to 4X. So X is equal to, make the division, you get 80. All right, now that's only one part of the problem, right? What is X? It's a word problem. Follow it up. What was X? X is the width. But you have this other one, X plus 20. So that means X plus 20 is 80 plus 20, which is 100. All right, so what is X? X is the width. So what do we know? The width is equal to 80, and it's in yards, 80 yards, and the length, well, the length is 100 yards. There we go.